Edwards, former Pro Bowl receiver, back at the desk with us. Can the Lions win without Megatron?
Well, if you go by last year, they can't win with him. But definitely last year without Megatron, they were 0-2. I mean, he makes up 36% of their catches, 26% of their yards, and 35% of their touchdowns. I mean, that's kind of like a losing formula if you take them off the field. Not to mention their field goal kickers are 4-12 this season, which is just god-awful. But if you look at who they're playing the Minnesota Vikings, a team that's struggling. They're first in their division, or tied for first. I think this is the optimum game to rest him. He's 6'5", he's 235 pounds. When you start talking those high ankle sprains with guys of that size and that stature, it's not going to get well by sitting him out play after play after play. He's going to have the rest of the game.
Wow. All right. Stephen A?
The Lions can win without Megatron because they're playing the Minnesota Vikings. It's really that simple to me. The Minnesota Vikings still have to prove that they're a viable team. Obviously, they don't really have much of a quarterback, even though Teddy Bridgewater does return this week. Obviously, that makes them a bit more formidable. Jennings, Cordarrelle Patterson, I look at them and I know that they've got some weapons, assuming they can throw the football, and they're a team to be reckoned with in that regard. I know Zimmer's their coach. Their defense has improved because of it. I look at Detroit, and I say to myself, if you are who you are supposed to be, you should be able to win this game because Minnesota is not that good yet. Teddy Bridgewater will be making his second start. I think as the season progresses, he'll improve exponentially. I think as a result of that, they'll improve as a team. I think Zimmer's got potential as a good coach. I actually like Zimmer more than what I'm seeing from Gruden in Washington, obviously. So I do like that. If I have any reservations about the Detroit Lions, it's that they seem to be searching for an identity. Schwartz is gone. He's a little bit above, he's a little bit extra. Right. Caldwell is a little bit too mild-mannered. You see what I'm saying? Something needs to be in between. The defense, you heard about Ndamukong Suh, but all you hear about Ndamukong Suh right now is, okay, you don't hear about the viciousness. You don't hear about how tough and rugged their defense is. Instead, what you're hearing now is he going to leave the Detroit Lions after this season? Right. Okay? Offensively, you can't seem to run the ball. I mean, I'm looking at them right now. I'm like, who's going to run the ball? Bell's going to run the ball for you. Bush is going to run the ball for you. Both of them are averaging less than 4 yards a carry, which means you've got to put the ball more in the hands of Matt Stafford, who has a problem throwing the football to somebody other than Megatron, even though Golden Tate had 134 receiving yards last week. I'm just looking at it and I'm saying, okay, I'm saying what it's supposed to be. Please don't get me wrong. I don't mean to misconstrue that Minnesota can't beat them. Right. I'm saying it shouldn't even be a question if Detroit is what we prognosticated them to be prior to the season. They seem to be searching for an identity, and as a result, being on the road in Minnesota, they look like they can be had, but it shouldn't be that way. The talent that they have, this should be a game that we should easily call and say, Detroit should win this game. But we can't, not because of Minnesota, but because of Detroit.
But that's been the problem with the Lions of the last 3, 4, 5 years. I live in Detroit.
But it was supposed to be different.
Exactly.
Now. Yeah.
It was supposed to be different last year. Yeah. And you see what happened for the last 7 years.
I didn't believe in Schwartz. That's
okay.
I'm going to go 2 more steps than either of you went.
Okay.
I'm going to say that these Lions are good enough on both sides of the ball to win their next 3 games without Megatron, who's clearly the best receiver in the game. And I hear all your numbers. He is the focal point of this offense. Yes. Maybe to a fault. Maybe to a fault. I think they can win at Minnesota. I think they can beat New Orleans at home. And I believe they could go to Atlanta and win that game, followed by a bye. And if Megatron's ankle is as bad as you sort of suspect that it is, he probably needs a month to get completely healthy. So I'm going a whole month of no Calvin Johnson. I think they could win those 3 games and take a week off. And I'll tell you why. That defense has allowed the fewest yards per game in the National Football League.
That is true.
And Buffalo had to scratch and claw to come back and win that game down 14-0, won at 17-14, thanks in large part to 3 more missed field goals, and you just brought it up. Exactly. They're 4 out of 12 on field goals this year, and I think they just helped remedy that problem. Surely Matt Prater can't be that bad, right? And remember, from 40 to 49 yards, they were 0 for 6. Well, that's going to put you in a bind. And Joyke Bell could not go with the concussion, but I assume he's going to be back this week. Well, he can run the ball a little bit.
Definitely can.
Reggie Bush was lost during the game with an ankle, and I think he's going to be back this week. Okay. And little Theo Riddick he's okay. He's not bad. He gives it the 3-headed punch here, running the football. And then, you know what? Golden Tate's a tough little receiver. You know him.
Yeah, know him well.
Yeah, know him very well. And we've had him on the show, and I like him. And is he a feature receiver? He's pretty good. That kid, Eric Ebron, that they drafted should be a stud. Maybe he'll get more balls now. Here's my point about Megatron. No one, I mean, is he the most gifted receiver in the history of this league? I would have to go that far, just on size and speed.
Okay.
No one's been more gifted. I'm still not sold on his intangible leadership qualities.
Right.
Can he be the man in Detroit to sort of lift the whole team? You know how much I love me some playmaker, Michael Irvin.
Right.
He was the leader of 3 teams that won Super
Well,
Bowls.
they're two different type of players.
Okay,
They're two different type of players.
Except, but think about it. I mean, Michael's a big physical. He wasn't 6'5".
I'm not talking about on the field.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the leadership aspect of it. That's not what
Does
Calvin
Calvin
Johnson
have
was.
that in him? I don't know.
It
Well,
appears
to me, that's
he
not the
appears to
question.
just
To me, that's not the
yeah.
question. The question is, to piggyback off of what Skip is saying, is there somebody on Detroit who can be that? And do the Detroit Lions need it? My answer is no
Yes.
and yes. There's
Yes and no.
somebody, every
hurt.
team needs it. Every team needs it. But they don't have it, even with Calvin Johnson healthy. That's why you made those commercials. One of my favorite, what do I keep saying? One of my favorite commercials last year was him with P. Diddy.
Right.
P. Diddy would handle everything else. I'm Calvin, you know, whatever it was, whatever he was.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be Calvin. I'm going to handle business. You go and handle your business on the football field. The problem with the Calvin Johnson is he leads by example. He's so great. You got receivers. We have Burson up in here marveling at the greatness of Calvin Johnson. You see his
leader,
work ethic.
though, right.
I'm saying you see his work ethic and what he does. Some people lead by example, but for some teams, Braylon, you can speak to this better than me, for some teams, they need that guy who's verbose and verbal. Like Michael Irvin might have won the Super Bowls and he could play and throw me the ball, I'm going to make the catch. All of that's true. But I go back to what Skip said that Michael Irvin did when Jimmy Johnson first got this list here.
Yeah, I know.
Get rid of this player, get rid of this
around
player.
the
That.
Lions.
I'm just saying, Michael Irvin, you see that brother.
Right.
You can't, just like Ray Lewis, you see that dude.
Is Megatron
There's something
that
you can't
dude?
do.
No,
You
he
can't do
is not that dude.
Can't
the
do
guy that is that guy for that team is actually hurt right now. That's Stephen Tulloch. Stephen Tulloch is the reason why their defense was doing what they do. He's the quarterback of their defense. He plays well.
Okay, so Braylon, last quick question. Can either Matt Stafford or Ndamukong Suh be leaders of this football team?
No.
Why? Real quick.
Ndamukong Suh doesn't want to be a leader. I think he's focused on too much outside the game. I think he has too many mental distractions that will not allow him to be a leader or people to actually listen to
And
him
Matt Stafford
and follow
is the
him.
quarterback? Why
Matt
not?
Stafford, he hasn't played well in the big-time games. He hasn't played well in the big-time situations, and he just doesn't look comfortable in that role. He just seems like he wants to be a gunslinger, throw the ball